Believers Bible Book Club.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
Welcome. And
morning.
thank you for coming back to another segment of Believers Bible Book Clubs, where we believe if you read, you will receive. You will receive something out of the Word of God. You will enjoy talking with your sisters or your brothers when you read the Word of God, and we're doing it in the form of a book club. So in book club form, we get to just discuss what's on our heart and our mind. This We know that it can sometimes sound like Bible class, but it's a way in being able to share the gospel of Jesus Christ by looking over what may be in the mind of your author. And we are here in the Song of Solomon, and Solomon is known and believed to be the author of the Song of Solomon. But before we dig into that, we would like you to click like, share, subscribe. As a matter of fact, take this moment right now just to share with just a couple of people, and it's important that we do that. That way, people get the opportunity to even look at the word. Oh, you may not want to join our Bible book club, but you may want to form a Bible book club because you're inspired by something that we are doing. You may want to actually ask to be part of the panel, and we are open to those kind of things. We are open if you want to join in on the dialogue. This morning, we have our beautiful sister, uh, Roxana Poland, who has shared with us in previous segments, in our older segments. She's a part of Believers Bible Book Club. She once a member, always a member, and you're a member of the Bible Book Club if you are a believer in the first place. So we just want to take this time to welcome everybody here. Thank you for coming out, and then we'll go into the Book of Solomon. We've given a lot of background concerning Solomon. We know that Solomon is the son of David and Bathsheba. If you like, you can go look up the parents of Solomon and go into their background. Of course, we just have an hour, so we can't go over every single thing, and there's so much to Solomon that if you like, go over segment one and you'll pick up a lot of nuggets from the first chapter. But now we're going into chapter two. And if anybody would like to just maybe share something that we didn't share last week about Solomon, that's not in the Song of Solomon, but just in some of his background, I'd like for you to do it at this time. Just anything.
Um, I don't really have any background. I think you went over all the background last week, didn't you? Most of the
I went
background.
over quite a bit. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a
some
lot.
of the background.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
have anything either.
yeah, as far as background. But I
If you
know
don't have anything,
continuation
you
of
know,
one,
yeah,
two. We're in two.
yeah, we'll just go ahead with the continuation of
Mm-hmm.
chapter two, and you will find here in chapter two that Solomon um, doesn't do the majority of the talking in chapter two. Chapter two is really the maiden doing most of the talking. So if anybody would like to read, let me see. I wanted to read down to read down to just 3 because there is a short dialogue here uh, with Solomon, but then the rest of the chapter is pretty much her. So we'll just dig into the Teresa. What version do you have?
I have the NIV version, and I just brought up the message as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
got the message too.
King
Okay.
James.
Start with the NIV for me and
Okay.
read just down to 3
So 1, 2, and 3, or just 1 and 2?
and 3.
Okay. I am a rose of Sharon, a lily of the valleys. Like a lily among thorns is my darling among the maidens. Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest is my lover among young men.
Amen. I'm going to read it out of the Amplified. Then I want uh, Sister Latricia to read it out of the Message. It says here, she said, I am only a little rose or autumn crocus of the plain of Sharon, or a humble lily of the valleys that grow in deep and difficult places. But Solomon replied, like the lily among thorns, so are you, my love, among the daughters. Like an apple tree among the trees of the wood, so is my beloved shepherd. This is her replying back. Among the sons, cried the girl. Under his shadow, I delighted to sit, and his fruit was sweet to my taste.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Mm.
Go ahead.
I'm just a wildflower picked from the plains of Sharon, a lotus blossom from the valley of pools. And here's the man. The lotus blossoming in a swamp of weeds. That's my dear friend among the girls in the village. And 3 and 4 are combined, but let me see if I can break it up.
You can go ahead and do it however you choose.
Okay. As an apricot tree stands out in the forest, the woman is saying, my lover stands above the young men in town. All I want is to sit in his shade, or taste a savior of the savor of his delicious love. He took me home with him for a festival meal, but his eyes feasted on me.
Mm.
Ooh,
So I want to
that's hot.
read this right here. It says, yes, it says right here, the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valleys. She describes herself as two flowers, yet they are two fairly commonplace wildflowers. So this ain't the most extravagant flowers. She's describing herself as what grows up in a field, wildflowers. She regarded herself as a flower, defin- definitely having beauty, but as rather plain flowers, not remarkable compared to others. Uh, Septuagint translate Rose of Sharon as flower of the field. We do know that the Rose of Sharon describes not a proper rose, but a flower found in the Sharon, the low coastal plain stretching south from Mount Carmel in the northern part of Israel. The word translated rose here actually means to form bulbs. Some think it refers to the bulb-like fruit produced by a rose bush, the rose hips. Yet, according to Carr, the general consensus is that the plant described here is one of the bulb family. Crocus, I never can say this plant. Narcissus, iris, daffodil are the usual candidates of what she was literally describing herself. Sharon was a very fruitful place where David's cattle were fed. So I'm just giving you a little background as to what she was describing. It is mentioned as a place of excellence in Isaiah and as a place of flocks. The lily of the valley is not a common white bell-shaped plant of that name. Some commentators, on the basis of Psalm 513, argue for a reddish purple color for the flower. Nevertheless, thus the bride's description of herself was really self depreciatory rather than otherwise. It was as if she saw that there was nothing and her beauty extraordinary or out of the common. So she was describing herself as just a common girl.
Mhm.
The Rose of Sharon and the Lily of the Valley, because we don't usually know what those flowers mean. We really had never taken the time to really break down and see what that means for us to have an understanding. That is a common flower that grew up in the fields. So it's not the it's not the it's not what
Sure.
I believe I've always thought it was. I thought it was something that stood out. It's not. It's not that particular. It's not that type of flower. So finding that out, look at Solomon's response to it. Solomon knew what it meant, but look at his response. His response was, but Solomon replied, like the lily among thorns, so are you, my love, among the daughters. So now he puts her in a place that it could be worse among thorns, and now you look beautiful. He's comparing
Exactly.
her.
Like it sticks
Yeah,
out, right?
how he did that
Yes.
he placed her like, look, you standing out to me, you look beautiful, because you said, if I put you in you're easily spotted for me, because within those particular fields are thorns, but here you are standing out to me. So he turns around and compliments her, even though she's kind of like, I know I'm plain Jane, is basically what she
Seems like
said.
she's been
I
like
know
that
I'm
throughout
plain.
even one. Even one, she talks
Yeah,
down about herself. You know what I'm saying? She seems like she
yes,
has some type of insecurity. She has it, that's what I'm, hearing
yes,
even one that she's insecure, and she thinks she's
yes, yes,
the less beautiful around, comparison to all the rest of the women. She feels like she's the
yes,
lesser
yes,
beautiful, and why are you choosing me? But he's encouraging her. No, that's not how I look at you. You
yes.
are beautiful. You're standing out. And you ever think about the women that have insecurities like that? That's just a true thing. Because think about going into a place, or as far as used to go out to the club or whatever. You know what I'm saying? How did
Mhm.
you feel that who you were in that particular? Because sometimes we're surrounded with beautiful women, and we're
Mhm.
looking at
Yeah.
beauty, but the man may
Mhm.
not even be paying attention to the beauty of the person more so than who that person probably light is shining. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying you standing out, but you don't even know you're standing out to a
Yeah.
particular person. You're
Yeah.
looking at all the beauty that's around you, but that person notice you.
Right.
Notice.
Yeah, notice you
Ooh.
among all these beautiful women. Now he's noticing you.
Yes.
You're standing
He's
out
noticing.
to him.
And so it says here, and I like, that's why sometimes you really gotta go dig, because sometimes when we read things, especially if you read it in the King James, you can't really always pull the meaning out, because we no longer talking that language and we don't know what they meant sometimes. So it's good to go dig. So it says, like a lily among the thorns, so is my love among the daughters. The beloved added that the maiden was not only beautiful, but that she was also among those who didn't appreciate or match her beauty. The beloved gave his maiden a precious gift, the gift of feeling preferred. In his estimation, she was the flower, and the other girls was just the thorn.
Mhm.
Exactly what you just talked about, Trish.
Mhm, mhm.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
sometimes we thinking that people are looking at what we don't know the eyes what they started being what actually
Yes.
attracted to. We thinking that a lot of
Mm,
times, okay, just because they're beautiful, more beautiful than me, that's what you feel within yourself, right? Doesn't mean that
mhm,
they are. Doesn't mean that they are. There's more to beauty than just looks.
Yes.
And then
mm.
what is that one saying? They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Beholder. Yeah.
Yeah. So, don't dim your light because you're
Yeah.
around beautiful women. Doesn't mean you will be overlooked because it's what the man sees.
And we're
That's
going to see something change in
yeah.
her language after this dialogue. Because listen, she is a lily indeed, but her beauty far surpasses the thorny weeds all around her. The bridegroom had just before called her fair. She, with a becoming modesty, represents her beauty as nothing extraordinary and compares herself to a common flower of the field. This, in the warmth of his affection, he denies, insisting that she as much surpasses all other maidens as the flower of the lily does the bramble. So just just right there, he just gave her a self-esteem boost. He just gave her a
Mhm.
boost to her self-esteem. How many of you know that's one thing in relationships, a woman and a man in a marriage, they have to affirm one another. They have to build each other up. They have to give words of affirmation to one another. So this is what he did when he saw that she didn't see herself as this standout. He made what she described beautiful. He turned around, and as she was describing herself as regular and normal, he used that regular and normal to make her stand out.
Mm.
How many times have somebody said something not so good about themselves, and you used what they said and turned around and you built up themselves? You are wonderful. You are a good person. You turn around and you make that thing to where they're not so, they don't stay in that place about themselves, that they start seeing the good things about themselves. So this is what he did for her, and I think it's very interesting, that, listen, we can take some notes. Men, y'all need to take some notes from Solomon. I don't know where Tasha, she like,
I like that.
Now,
That's why I was saying. Now, she not only that, she had her camera off. I said I was going to tell her, and then she popped off. I said, "No, we need your camera on. We need to see your face." We need to see.
and so, sister, what version do you have, Sister Roxanne?
I have the King James Version.
Okay, good. Can you read 4 through 8? 4 through 8.
He brought me to the banqueting house, and his banner over me was love.
Hmm.
Stay with flagons, comfort me with apples, for I am sick of love. His left hand is under my head, and his right hand doeth embrace me. I charge you, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, by the roes and by the hinds of the fields, that ye stir not up nor awake my love till he please. 8. The voice of my beloved. Behold, he cometh leaping upon the mountains, skipping upon the hills.
Yes.
mm.
So I'm going to go back, and I meant to say 4 through 7, but that's fine. I'm going to go back and I'm going to read 4 through 7 out of the Amplified to give us some clarity. He brought me to the banqueting house, and his banner over me was love. For love waved as a protecting and comforting banner over my head when I was near him. Sustain me with raisins, refresh me with apples, for I am sick with love. I can feel his left hand under my head, and his right hand embraces me. He said, I charge you, O you daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles or by the hinds of the field, which are free to follow their own instincts, that you not try to stir up or awaken my love until he pleases. I'm almost scared to see what the Message Bible gonna say. You on mute. You on mute.
Yes, let's see what the message says. So you started at, okay, so I'm gonna have to find 4. It starts and from 5 to 6 on here.
Okay.
So let me start at 5 because I think I read 4 already anyway.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Oh, give me something refreshing to eat and quickly. Apricots, raisins, anything. I'm about to faint with love. His left hand cradles my head, and his right arm encircles my waist. Oh, let me warm you, sisters in Jerusalem, by the gazelles, yes, by all the wild deer. Don't excite love, don't stir it up until the time is right and you're ready. That's 7.
Okay. So he has brought me to the banqueting house. The maiden dreamily thinks of her beloved, bringing her to a special place, the banqueting house, which is more literally house of wine, either in the sense of storage or production. It seems to be a secluded, outdoorsy place where the maiden and her beloved could be together and eventually be intimate. Idiomatically, the house of wine could be the place where wine is grown, a vineyard, manufactured, stored, or consumed. The frequent use of the outdoor motifs in the song, particularly of the garden as a place for the lovers' rendezvous, suggests that the vineyard itself is what is intended here. So it's just giving a little background for us to understand literally the house of wine. The ancients preserved their wine not in barrel or dark cellars underground as we do, but in large pitchers. We talked about that before, ranged against the wall in some upper apartment in the house, the place where they kept their most pressure effects. His banner over me was love, taken more literally. This is a strange statement, taken more poetically. The maiden rejoices that her beloved and publicly and openly proclaimed his love for her as if he had set up a banner or flag to say it. So she was not a secret. She was not a well-kept secret. And look, his banner over me was love. What? He was waving the flag, letting folks know she mine. So imagine what that made her feel like, as she has already described herself as just a lily in the field. So here he is once again giving her this feeling. She's describing now what she feels like. So now she's starting to, after his dialogue, she's starting to, wait a minute, get visions and pictures, and it's believed that she was either having a vision or dreaming. So
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
Like having a vision or dreaming. This is what they're saying. This dialogue in this text. It's like she's dreaming or visioning these things. So as we move through it, and yes, you're also going to see like the allegories and things. Even you can almost see yourself amongst that, even with Christ. You don't think there's nothing special about you. You don't know why God would choose you. You don't think that you're special. Here in a relationship between a man and a woman is the demonstration of God's banner over you, and his banner over you is love, even though you don't feel worthy, because you know what all you've done. You know that you've been dirty. You know that you've had thoughts and different things. But here he's saying, amongst the thorns, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. I chose you. I picked you. So that's where the allegory comes in for this particular writing, to where people, as we talked about in one, people don't really want to take this as in a love relationship, but it is. You can't deny that this is dialogue between a man and a woman.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes, this is dialogue between a husband and a wife. So as we're reading this, he is not ashamed to acknowledge her publicly. The house of wine is now as appropriate as the king's chambers were. Fearlessly and without shame, she can sit at his side, his acknowledged spouse, the bride of his choice. Don't nobody want to be with nobody that's shame with them. We talk about it all the time. If they don't want to be seen with you in public, if they want all these late nights and just come to your house, that not taking you out. Why? This is not a man who is waving a banner of love over you.
Mm.
He don't want to woo you. He don't give you words of affirmation. He don't make you feel good. These are all red flag. He's waving a red flag over you is what he's waving over you. A red flag. That's a red flag.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I wish I don't know how Sister Lata, I'm like you, Trish. Where's she go?
Oh, she's talking about two lovers. I don't know where she done went to. You know, because this is her genre. This is her
She go-
genre. Yeah, this is more of her genre, and I don't, it's not my genre, but I'm into it. I see, but she's like, well, I guess fantasizing, but then he
Yes.
responds back to her, and that's the thing. Okay, so they're not in the vicinity one with another.
Mhm.
So these are their thoughts, or
Mm.
or is she getting a letter to?
The first couple of verses is dialogue, and
Yeah.
then after that, she is in thought or dream.
Or drink? Yeah.
Yeah, yes, you'll get that after about after their dialogue. She is in thought. She
Yeah.
is just in deep thought after he's made her feel affirmed. She's now in deep thought about this thing. Like this is the real thing.
Now she feels herself. She's fantasizing on being with him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like how she because the way she described it, talking about his hand under my
Yeah,
head,
like she
having her waist. So she's envisioning being in this relation. Have I guess having a close, intimate time. I'm not going to always say sex because you can be close to somebody and not actually have sex. They could just be, just embracing, embracing one another, and that's what she's in, I guess, in thought about, being with him, just being with him, and then what she thinks about him, by you said in the next one, we haven't even read it yet, so I don't want to get ahead of what we're talking about, but just to see that, her fantasizing or imagining, being with him from what we just read.
Mhm.
So check this out. Oh, I wish Tasha was here. So they talk about I am lovesick. So this says the maiden described a feeling familiar to many who have known the thrill of romantic love. She feels physically weak, and perhaps even somewhat disoriented because of the strength of attraction and infatuation she has towards her beloved. Now, this is according to Dr. Jeffrey Scholars. There's a brain hormone that mediates the feelings of being in love or being infatuated. One of these neurotransmitters is known as phenethylamine, and it floods our brain when we fall in love. It is also in fairly high quantities in chocolate. This chemical gives us feeling of exhilaration and thrill and well-being, and in high amounts can lead to a loss of appetite. This chemical works somewhat in a cycle, at least in a relationship. At the beginning of the relationship, it spikes up. After 4 or 5 years, it begins to decline. Across cultures, there is spike in the rate of divorce at about 4.5 years of marriage. So isn't that something that it's so if you don't think you fearfully and wonderfully made, you better ask somebody. So these chemicals, that's what's inside of us. When I was young and I'd be waiting for that phone call. I could hardly eat. Back then we called it just puppy love. We didn't know that within the brain there is a release of a chemical that causes this to happen. I didn't know that. So, you know how it is when somebody has your divine attention. You're sitting, you're waiting for the phone call, you're thinking about it. Your brain doesn't really move away from it. So he's describing that there's a chemical that kicks in that causes that when we are experiencing some kind of infatuation or interest in it to a high degree in that level. So when she's talking about she loves sick, she can't even eat. This is what they believe she's describing is happening inside of her body. So
Hmm.
That's deep.
Now, that's deep.
giving
So, yeah, you giving them that
That's
much.
really deep.
You can't even eat, you can't. But you know what I've learned though, I think there is a losing of appetite when you're really interested in someone. If they, if you allow them to get into that space, if you get,
yes,
you allow them to get there to that space,
yes,
that can happen.
that does. And
Yeah.
so they said this leads some scientists to say that we are made from monogamy,
Hmm.
but only in the sense of one partner at a time. So all of this open marriage stuff and all of this stuff, it doesn't even flow with the chemical makeup of your DNA. How about that part?
Hmm.
Yeah, because that's how God created it.
That's how
Exactly.
God created. So you are out of order, satanic things have come into play when you can even entertain it. Now to
Mm.
me, that's deep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. And the
But
aspect of it is, since you're saying the monogamy, that it's scientifically,
Backed up,
yes.
backed up science.
Because people of the world, they don't when they don't want to hear anything spiritual, they go to science. So
Mhm.
now that is scientifically saying that.
Right.
Science,
No,
science,
that this doesn't work.
science really came to prove God. That's what
Yes.
science came for.
Hmm.
There you go.
So that lets you know that you can't be in love with all of them. You can't love all of them. Like you
It's
say,
lust.
yes, it's just lust because no
Right.
way. And I used to always say, I said, no, when a man say, I love them both, I said, you love neither
Mm-mm.
one of them. You don't
Mm-mm.
love neither
Mm-mm.
one of
That's
them.
lust. That's
Yeah,
not love.
love neither one of them because once you love someone, really truly love someone, you don't want to hurt them. You want to be with that one and only, that person only. That's when that monogamy comes up. That's the only person I'm giving myself to. This is
Right.
what's
Mhm.
in here. But with David having different women and in different relationships, I don't know how that works with him. Now I guess we're just talking about what she's feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that don't mean he's feeling that just for her one, for one person, because
Right.
he has a huge concubine that he's dealing with right now, right?
Mhm.
This would happen if he did this. That
Hmm.
your heart astray if you do this in access, if you break the rules in Deuteronomy that we went over last week, those three things. One of them was taking in that many women. If you go after all of that
Mhm.
many, something's gonna happen.
Heart. They're gonna turn your
Yeah,
heart.
it's
Mhm.
gonna. How many people have had their hearts turned because
Mhm.
they are mingling this thing up with way too many?
So that means that their hearts are really hardened.
Mhm.
They don't have that motion, that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not the monogamy is not there. So
Oh,
now I'm just doing something. Some
Right.
people just chasing a feeling, or because you don't have to be in love to have sex. You don't have to
No.
love a person to have sex.
Right.
And
Love.
so so when someone is there, they're not even really tapped in.
yeah.
Mhm.
They're not even really tapped into that person. They're just tapped
Mhm.
into the action.
Right.
Mhm.
you know so yeah, because David, now with him, like we said, he has a different so it hadn't got down here yet where they slept together. They're talking about
Yeah,
it.
Mhm.
yeah.
they're talking about it. They're working their way up to, to getting to that place. But she's actually fantasizing that she's already there. You know what? Come get me. I'm ready. I'm fantasizing that we already going there. She's fantasizing, and then most women, but women being emotional, a lot of times they have already gotten there before they got there. Before the actual action has ever happened. I think that there's still a preparation there. Like, what, how, when, what, how it's gonna feel. Is he? Because a lot of women wonder, is he gonna be good? And even men, I believe men have that thought too. We done juiced each other all the way up. Now here's this. Now here's the day where we gotta perform. We gotta perform. So I think that's why I believe in that monogamy works. I believe that if you don't have to compare it to, it's gonna be perfect. I just believe that, because you don't got nothing to compare it to.
Right.
So now your first encounter is gonna be your best encounter.
Right.
Because
that's what God intended.
Yes, because that's what God intended. But a lot of people, they want to try it first, like before they get married, right? Because we know sex is for marriage. Sex is for marriage. Sex is for marriage. And so we know that once David, now in the Old Testament, we know that once they laid down, they're married. They actually are married. So
going together.
Yeah, they're there. But now we have to go through the marriage ceremony. We have to do, all the things, but we got to make sure we consummate it. So that's what it's still the same as the Old Testament. You're not really married till you consummate.
Yeah.
So leading up to that day, if you ain't had nobody else, I just believe that's not my experience. So I can't speak for anybody.
Right.
I can't really actually speak on that. But you know what? I'm thinking, now this is the thing. I'm thinking that since I haven't the length that I have, it will be new to me, because
will be.
It'll be new. It'll be like I'm starting all over.
Born again virgin.
Yes, and then this one thing, because I don't associate having sex with love. I didn't associate having sex with love, and I haven't associated having sex with and being all love and lovey-dovey and all that. So it will be different.
Right.
This time.
Pastor, it'd be even better.
Yeah.
So,
I'll talk about the Song of Solomon. You're getting a taste of this, a whole different look, a whole different view. You say you're not into it, but then again you said, well, you know what? I'm really enjoying this. I'm looking at this in a different way. That's my perception of what you were saying.
Yeah, I'm not into the gushy part.
Yeah. But God's going to help you there.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what she's so it says the attraction phase is powerful and the kind of condition that makes one say I am lovesick. Yet the key to a long-term fulfilling relationship is staying with it past the attraction phase into the attachment phase.
Yes.
There are some counselors who devote almost their entire counseling practice trying to help what they call love junkies, people who are so addicted to the phenethylamine phase that they bounce from relationship to relationship with a rush to relationship rush without ever really coming into a greater, longer lasting relationship fulfillment. One could say that we are engineered for the longer lasting attachment phase, and the attraction phase is meant to be a portal into the attachment phase and not something unto itself. So that's what that's what they're saying. Some people, they fall in love every time you turn around. They're in love with somebody else. They can't get beyond that first feeling. They're addicted to the high that they get from that first feeling, and they don't progress into the long term. So a lot of celebrities, for instance, get married. Think about it. Most of them don't make it past that 4 years, because when it comes to the attachment, the structure to make it past it during the attachment stage because they got high off that particular part of the relationship, and here they are, some new arm candy and eye candy, and they don't progress past that. So I like that they helped us get some understanding about that. So as we read on,
That's why we
9,
can't stay
where are we
caught up
at?
in
9?
passion. Let me
Nine.
say this too, because that's why we can't stay caught up in the passion. We can't stay
Oh,
caught up in that
Mhm.
burning desire. And that, you remember, we had a whole segment on that,
yeah,
and a lot of them get married there. And that's why we said, do those marriages last?
yeah,
A lot of
right.
them don't. Why? Because the fire has went out. You know what I'm saying?
And
Now we got to get
because
serious. Now there's this really a
Rob,
commitment.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
they don't go to the next phase. They stay stuck.
exactly.
And the relationship has to keep going. It can't stay stuck in, oh, we love struck.
Yeah,
Oh, it don't stay there. And that's what people, the fire gone. No, it's not gone. It's following the normal course
right.
that it's supposed to follow. Now you have to find new ways of fulfilling your love because you're going to be past that love sick stage. That's not going to stay forever. So just looking at this kind of stuff is just interesting that once again, we're not afraid to read the book of Song of Solomon.
Oh, yeah. Look, we grown over
Right, that's right. But you know, sometimes people don't want to. They don't want to change, and they don't want to do the work.
yeah.
They don't want to do the work to take it to another level. You know, to sustain the relationship or sustain the marriage.
Right.
You know, they want to be stuck in what all of that from the past, and they don't want to move up. And as we grow
Yeah.
older, all of us change, into
Yes.
different stages of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what's the marriage thing? For sick, for good or for bad, sick and in health,
Better.
Yeah.
all of that. And people
Yeah.
don't want to change into that. Or if they don't want to change into that, they don't want to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're like,
Right.
I don't feel like doing this. I've heard some conversations with them. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah.
And y'all have to excuse me. I had a little conversation
Mm.
with Tasha yesterday. I said, "Oh, that's nice for all of y'all that want to be married and everything." I said, "But I'm good all by myself."
Oh,
I said, "I've been married twice." So
okay.
I'm learning for me. Now I can't speak about anybody else. Okay. The first one was like 5, 6 years. The last one was like 27. You know,
Mhm.
and so I'm learning me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning how to take care of me. I'm learning how to have fun with myself and by myself because all of those things I didn't have a chance to do uh, because as being a wife and a mother and a grandmother, my time was given out, my life and my time was given out, because I was doing what I thought was needed to keep my family together. And so now that everybody's grown and the ex-husband is dead, I'm learning how to take care of me.
Mhm.
And like I said, for those who want to be married, I encourage it. You know, but I will say that please do the work. Please do the
Yeah.
work. Don't get to like 20 years later and say, I'm tired. I don't want to be married anymore, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to, take care of you, or I don't want to invest my time anymore. You know, make sure that you continue to try and grow with each other. And if you need some help, get some counseling. With your
Yeah.
pastor,
Mhm.
or your bishop, or even get some outside counseling.
Yeah.
But I went through all of that from my pastor to we had two outside counseling. And what I realized is that the man didn't want to be married
Yeah.
after like 27. You don't want to be married. And when you start having other folks calling my phone, the house phone, and all that, you kind of realize that
Yeah.
I don't want to be married. So that's why I say, if that's, marriage is a wonderful thing, but do the work. Do the work. Before you get married, do the counseling. And after you get married, if you hit like a brick in the road, get the counseling. But you have
Yeah.
to want to do the work. You can't be one doing the work. Everybody has to do it.
Yes.
So Dion, I wanted to say this because you said something. Now, if we go into the relationship, right, with all the gushy stuff, we talking all the gushy stuff, and then the person just stopped doing that part. Like that's what attracted you to him. This, like David, they talking, all this passion is here. I mean Solomon. Well, I always say David. Yes, Solomon. I know it. And all this passion and stuff is here. And then you get into the relationship, and then that part is gone.
Did Solomon suffer from that? Did Solomon suffer from that?
See?
Did he suffer from what it feels like at the beginning of love? And so
then it gets dry. Then it gets, yes. Then that part is gone, yeah. So I just wanted to mention that, because you said something about what you do in the beginning. You got to keep going. You got to find a way to keep that going.
Yeah,
because that was an attraction to that person. So
yeah,
but now you done got in the commitment. Now you don't even want to tell her she beautiful no more. Now she is the thorn. You ain't sticking out like the thorn. You my thorn. You the thorn in my side.
That's because he got it now. He got it now.
That's where those spells come in, man.
You got it now, so why? I got you now, so why? Come on now.
You get on your side, you be like, wait a minute now. Where's this Lily? Where's
Rose is staring in this Lily. Like you did before.
Right.
Exactly.
You better get that Christian counseling before you get into marriage.
Because it's going to go through cycles and phases. It's no way. Our relationship with God is, you have to learn to be stable. You have to learn that there are times when we experience disappointment, and we have to learn to get over it because God didn't show up in the way we wanted. So even in the beginning, it seemed like he did. So that's why this can be compared to a relationship with God, because you have to be in your relationship with God even for the long haul, because bad things are going to happen. Things are going to happen that shakes up, and you wonder if our relationship is as stable as I thought it was, because I'm hinging it upon all of the responses that I am getting. That lo, I'm with you. No matter what's going on in your life, he's still with you. You may be over the wooing stage. Now you got to be in it now I got to learn of him. I got to learn what Paul was talking about. I got to learn what Peter was talking about. I got to learn that they walked through these things, and every day wasn't Sunday, as we say. Every day's not going to be. So every day's not going to be in a relationship. Every day's not going to be like the courting phase was.
Right.
So learning how to cohabitate beyond the courting phase, beyond that phase where you feel lovesick, getting beyond that and realizing, you know what? The way he eat that just irritate me. Way you just get on my nerves. Just, all of us, you ain't even notice all that. Doing that
all the time when you was lovesick and all that, he was still sipping that coffee or whatever you didn't like. Gone on him.
Working it.
But you missed, you talking about, that, it didn't bother you then.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was cute.
Yo, I remember.
That same joker that was.
I remember not finding nothing wrong with Israel for 4 years, and now that I have the explanation of why.
Wow. She said
Really?
that you've told us that before.
Yeah,
You
I
said
told you. So nothing wrong with Israel. There was only one thing after the 4 years, and that one thing could have ruined our marriage. But this explains it, and that's really cool. That there was just.
it is. It is. So don't fear the book of Song of Solomon. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot. Even you'll be like, I think it helped me say, you know what? I think that's actually what Solomon suffered from. He
Yeah.
suffered from being in love with the in love face.
Lust. Yes, that's it.
He liked the high of him feeling good and him making you feel good. He got high off of it, is really what was going on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So let's
Then
try
I
to
have a
get
question.
Yeah, verse 9.
I have a question.
okay.
Dion, I wanted to know, okay, when you were talking about the high, because we know that Solomon had all these different women.
Mhm.
Was it also because, what was it, 700 wives or something like that?
700 wives, 300 concubines.
Hmm.
Please.
Let me keep that in my mind because I was
That's
getting ready
a
to
lot.
say something. But anyway, because I was getting ready to be Roxanne. I was getting ready to be Roxana for real. But anyway, so let me kind of stay right here. Was it the excitement of having the different women from different countries and different religions that also could have made him, you
Mhm.
know, because
Yeah.
we're all, I don't
I
see any of them were the same.
Exotic women. A lot of
Right.
people like, yeah, they
turned them all on.
what you say, Dion?
And I turned them all on. He turned them, turn them all on. He getting high off the fact he make all these women feel good. He know what to say because he is full of wisdom. So even though his wisdom can be used for good things, his wisdom can be used for bad things. He had so much wisdom. He knew how to turn on every woman he encountered.
But he couldn't
That's
control his flesh. He could not
Yeah.
control his flesh.
He couldn't
Right.
control his flesh.
That was definite. That
Yes.
was shown.
So
Mhm.
his gift combined with his flesh
Mm-hmm.
was a recipe for disaster for him.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
became-
Why those that worship me must do it in spirit and in truth. When the flesh enter in, even those gifts, his wisdom was a gift. It God granted him that thing. And so now his gift,
came from God. So that's the difference.
yeah. So now it's
Man.
being used because he's still man. So
Yes, man.
still being used in the flesh. You can use discernment for the wrong things.
This is good though, because now when we look at ministers, you look at people that's in the body of Christ, the gift, Holy Spirit, the gift and everything comes from God, but you can still, even with that gift, operate in your flesh. Because we still got people, struggling with their flesh.
Yeah.
Trying to stop not fornicate. We got saints fornicating. We do.
Yeah.
But but we got them fornicating because that part of them they haven't put under subjection, just like David.
Yeah.
And Solomon, Lord forgive me, because David had a
Well,
lust.
take it too.
We know that it came from David.
Okay.
From David, it was passed down. But if
Yes.
put that thing under subjection,
Yeah.
release that to God. Because like I said, God said God didn't stop Solomon. He just said if you sleep with him, they're gonna change your heart. And not and when he meant by that, he said they're gonna change your heart about me.
About me.
About me.
Yeah. He still
and that's
took
what it does. Fornication. It separates us from God.
Yes.
Things out, in our flesh. We're allowing our flesh to take control of us, right? We're allowing that emotions or whatever the case may be, whatever your high is, because everybody has highs, but it may not be sex. Yes, something that
Mhm.
gets them
Mhm.
there, and they want to be right there all the time, because that's most people that do drugs. They want to feel a certain way. They want that
Mhm.
feeling, and that's what that makes me feel like. So listen, I want to be out of myself. And
Yes.
with Solomon, as we study Solomon, you're gonna see Solomon had issues within him
Yeah. Yeah.
that he didn't take care of, that he didn't, get healed from. So he used this women, to stay. Well, let's say his vice. He's used women as his vice.
Yeah.
They was like a
Mhm.
vice to him.
Mhm.
So in the world we have that, because we battle with what? Flesh. We battle with us with our flesh. So that I love this because it shows the humanity in
Human
man,
side of
even though they have gifts from God, even though
yeah.
God has called him to be king, or he's called you to be a minister, but you're still human.
Yeah.
You're still human. So I
You
love
have
this. It shows
gifts and
humanity.
you still
Yes, you're still struggling. It
you
doesn't stop
struggling.
you from struggling in your flesh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the part I really do like. And Rox, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what's very important for us to get out of here. You can still struggle in your flesh and have a gift.
Mhm.
And so if when you go on through this, read it later on, because we really did conquer the meat of it and stayed in discussion where we needed to, because she just goes on and continues to describe what she was thinking and feeling at that moment. And so you'll go through and you'll hear her talking about for behold, the winter is past, the rain is over and gone, the flower appears on the earth, the time of the singing of the birds has come, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. So we know turtle doves represents love. So as you go on and you continue reading, 17 says, then longingly addressing her absent shepherd, she cried, until the daybreak and the shadow flee away. Return hastily, O my beloved, and be like a gazelle or a young hart as you cover the mountains which separate us. Why? You know me, in my mind, Solomon was off probably doing what Solomon does for that season. So she's longing for his return. She's longing to hook back up and be in the presence of Solomon once again. But so we will be going into chapter 3, as you see, as we discussing, and we're learning so much just about what's inside of us, how things work. Love is something that we have to understand God created. There is a way he chemically imbalanced us for love. Wow. And so Satan comes and perverts it. Why? Because if you don't have God's ways of doing things, you're not going to make it out these phases. You're not going to be kept during this phase. You're not going to wait to marriage you're not going to let this build up until the sexual encounter that consummates your marriage and all of those things. So, but the chemical makeup is real and it's to everybody. What he say? He didn't just put it in the just. He reigned on the just and the unjust. And that's how we get in circumstances and situations where we are not lined up with the will of God according to our body's makeup, but we still must understand that God has a way. God does have a plan. God does it. God even wants us to experience the lovesick. The lovesick is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's what brings couples together. That courtship. You want to feel good about your mate. Some of us did it with no feeling. That's wasn't God's intention to play. God bless you. Come back with us for another segment of Believers Bible Book Club. We'll be back with you with chapter 3. We love you. Join us. Leave comments. God bless you. Amen.
Bye.
Bye-bye.